Hello, I'm Neil Cameron and I'm here with...
Carrie Burmaster. Hello.
We have her and her husband's wedding photo from when they got married. That is her husband, Brian Burmaster. How did you and Brian first meet?
I met through my mother, actually. My mother and Brian worked together, and my mother used to talk to him on break time, and she thought he was really lovely, and she kept bugging me to meet him, and at the time I didn't want to meet anybody, but she wore me down, and I agreed to go on a date with him. So we did, and we got along really well, and we started dating.
When did you and Brian get married?
We got married on August 8th of 2015.
How long have you currently been married?
Well, about 5 months.
So when did you and Brian first realize that you two were in love with each other?
I'd say it was probably a few months after dating. Yeah. That we realized that we loved each other. We got along really well and had a lot of things in common. So, yeah.
After you got married, was living together different from when you were in common law?
I don't think living together was different. Being married, it's just a nice feeling. It gives you a sense of security that might not have been there before, but not too much changed with us. I mean, our relationship is exactly the same.
What are some of the difficulties of the married life, though?
Difficulties of the married life. We got married during a time where my cancer was in remission, so I was able to have, hair during that time. Getting married was, during that time, it was good because, we've been through a lot of struggles in the last 4 years with my cancer diagnosis, and there's times when I have no hair like now. That's what we've been dealing with our relationship is my illness. You learn that life is important and the little things don't matter. Maybe things that you fought about before that you don't fight about now because they don't matter anymore. Still, even though there's a diagnosis of cancer, there's still things that irritate you about the other person. So you still have to learn to deal with those things and, compromise.
What are some of the benefits of the married life?
Benefits of the married life. It was nice to be married after, being together for 19 years. It was nice for my family. We had, very intimate wedding with all the friends and family, and had the reception in my dad's backyard. That meant a lot to my parents. And it was just, a great time. So it was perfect timing.
Why did you choose to get married after such a long time of living together for, 19 years?
Mm-hmm. Again, the timing was just perfect. If I was going to get married, I wanted to have hair. That was important to me. We got married in a very special place. We had friends and family help, set up everything, and it just was the perfect day.
Was your wedding different from the traditional wedding?
I don't know that it was different from a traditional wedding. I think it might have been different because of the circumstances, with regards to my health. It certainly meant a great deal to Brian and I and the rest of my family. Our wedding was, really something to look forward to, and it was very special. So.
Did you and Brian have any kids together?
Yes, we have one daughter.
And how old is she?
She's 18.
Do you love her a lot?
Of course I do. She's a really good girl.
Does having kids affect your married life any different if you didn't have any kids?
I can't imagine a life without kids. I love having kids. I guess if you didn't have kids, life would be a lot quieter and a lot less messier, and you'd have more money. But I love having kids, so I wouldn't trade that. They're everything to me, my kids.
Is there a message you'd like the world to know about love and marriage?
I think what, for me, is that I would say to people, don't sweat the small stuff. I know a lot of people get really stressed out when it comes to their weddings and they want everything to be perfect, but it's all about how you feel about each other, and that's something that I've learned and Brian has learned. You know, through my illness, that the little things don't matter, the trivial things don't matter. It's all about how you feel about each other, and you love each other. That's the most important thing. If you love each other, you can get through anything.
So you and Brian have been together for 19 years. You were in common law for those 19 years and only recently got married in the past 5 months.
Right?
So obviously this would be different for you in the sense where you've already had to live through living together. So is marriage more a big thing for you after living together for 19 years? Was it bigger than it would have been if you got married after a few years of living together?
Well, I think that, we've been together for, nearly 20 years. So we've gotten used to being together and living together. We've learned to compromise over the years. A newly married young couple that, might not have lived together before, and then they live together after they're married. It's all new to them, but it's not new to us. The same compromises that we've been making for years, we continue to make. And, that's how it's different for us, because, we've been doing this a long time.
What are some of the compromises that you've had to deal with throughout the years?
Some of the compromises that you have to deal with are, my husband likes to fish a lot. Sometimes he'd be, gone fishing for, quite a while, and at first it bothered me a little. He'd be gone for a week at a time here and there and stuff, because I missed him. But over the years I learned to compromise because he loves to fish so much. I don't mind at all. Now it gives him a break away from me, and me a break away from him, because sometimes you also need that.
How do you feel that is important to sometimes take a break from each other?
I just think that it's good for the marriage. I think that, you don't always have to do everything together. We do spend a lot of time together. We do a lot of things together, so it's okay to have separate things. And when he's away, I find something to do, and he's fishing and doing something that he loves, and it's a great stress reliever for him. He's gone, and I can't wait for him to get back. And it's good. He's all refreshed, and he's good to go.
So when you first met Brian, there's a few attraction theories out there where some of them deal with personal appearance.
Mm-hmm.
How close you were to living with him, so proximity. If you two were similar to each other and that's how you were attracted, or opposites attract. So you were complete opposites.
We were complete opposites, yeah. He had long hair and tattoos, and so, that's very different from me. He was more outgoing, a lot more outgoing than me. I was very shy. It didn't matter. Family was really important to him, and family was really important to me. And so, we had that in common. And just, I guess, opposites attract. I mean, when I told my dad that he had tattoos, my dad was, what kind of tattoos? He was a little bit, he thought he was a tough guy, but he's not a tough guy. He looked like a tough guy, but he's not. He's a really good man.
With you two being opposites, do you feel like that's how you were attracted to each other? Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, actually, my mother had shown Brian a picture of me. I didn't have a picture of him, but he saw a picture of me, and he liked the picture. When I met him, and he had such long hair, and it was very long. He already had the advantage that he saw me before I saw him. But I liked what I saw, so we were total opposites in every way, but sometimes that works, and it's worked for us, so yeah.
What are some of the ways that you deal with some of the stressful situations in your life?
In our life, we talk a lot. Life is very stressful, going through cancer treatments, and it's disruptive to the whole family, very hard on everybody. But we talk a lot. That's something that we do. Him and I will go get a coffee and go to our favorite park, and we'll talk things out. That is so important. You know, we don't keep things in. You know, we don't. You know, we don't sweep things under the carpet. We talk about things. We get it out there. And if something's bothering him, he'll tell me. If something's bothering me, I tell him, and we work it out. So, you know, we don't have that to deal with on top of everything else, right? You don't need to have, you know, angry, negative feelings going on when there's more important things, you know, that are going on, so.
Okay, so you and Brian don't keep any secrets from each other?
No, we don't keep any secrets from each other.
So you live an honest, truthful life?
We do, yeah. No secrets. Secrets just seem so silly and trivial.
When did you sort of realize that Brian was the one for you?
I'd say like it was a few months. It didn't take long. It was a few months. We just got along. We clicked so well. I had 2 children from a previous marriage, and you know, that didn't bother him at all. I mean, he, you know, loved kids, and he was really great with the kids, and we enjoyed spending time together.
Okay, so you were in a previous marriage.
Mm-hmm.
How would you compare that marriage to the one that you have now?
Oh my goodness, I can't even compare it. My first marriage, you know, my husband had a very bad temper problem. Got angry for every little thing and would blow up and punch holes in the walls, and it just wasn't a good situation, so I left the marriage. Brian doesn't do things like that. We can talk about things, you know, he's not going to punch holes in the wall. He's reasonable, he's caring, and family is everything to him, which it wasn't like that with my ex-husband. It was all about him.
How long were you and your ex-husband together?
3 years.
Comparing your current marriage to your previous one, how would you describe how loving and caring you were to each other, and how you were able to compromise and stuff like that compared to your current marriage?
My current marriage, we compromised a lot. It was impossible in my previous marriage because he had such a problem with anger that everything made him mad. You couldn't compromise with him because he wanted it his way. And Brian is the opposite of that. I mean, you know, we compromise all the time. And, you know, we work things out. And I couldn't do that in my previous marriage at all.
So would you say there was no love in the previous marriage?
No, I wouldn't say there wasn't any love. I loved him in the beginning. But his temper and his, you know, I had a young child at the time, and, you know, he's angry and screaming and yelling and punching holes in walls. You can't live in an environment like that with a child. So there's no compromising with some people. He was just impossible.
Based on what you just said, you would definitely agree that love does take time and love takes work. Yeah,
it does. Relationships take a lot of work, and there's ups and downs in them, and you know, but if you love each other, you can work it out. You can talk, and you know, that's the most important thing. If you love each other, you know, then you can do anything. You can go through anything, like Brian and I going through this cancer journey. You know, there's nothing that you can't do if you don't love each other.
Okay, well, I think that's all the questions I have for you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for this interview, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too.